If you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, go with someone else. Now, that's how it goes. But I've paraphrased it often to say, if you want to go somewhere, then go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you want to be successful, and you want to be consistent, then take people with you. And today we're talking about mentorship. Over the last several episodes, we've talked about building a supportive network and putting people in your group, in your space that will help you along the way. And today we're talking specifically about mentorship, how to find a mentor, and how to go about beginning having that conversation. Hey, I'm glad that you're here. This is Dr. Dwain Woode, and you have joined me for day number 55 of my 100-day walk to consistency. As you see, I am on the campus of my alma mater. This is Oakwood University, and just picking my son up. He's in a program here, and so thought I would take this opportunity to do our walk for today. Hey, let's do it. Remember, consistency is your superpower. It is the key to all that we do. If we are consistent over time, then we get the benefits. So let's go ahead. I'll see you on the walk. All right, so we've been talking about consistency. We've been talking about building a network. And here's a key point that I want to make here right from the beginning. That while being prepared and having the skills, having the tools, being ready for the opportunity is an amazing feat, and you need to do that. If you want to really supercharge what you do, if you want to really supercharge the process of being successful, being consistent, then mentorship is a great space to be in. Here's a little story for you. When my son was starting to learn basketball, I would take him out on the court, and I'm not a basketball player, but I love basketball, and I showed him what I knew, okay? And at one point, we went to a facility where there were coaches and trainers, and we joined the club and got our membership and so forth. And so he's in the cage now, and he's learning to handle the ball. Did a good job there. And then now we get to the shooting section, and so he's shooting the ball and having some success, but not great success. And I showed him a few things, and he improved a bit. But one of the coaches was walking by, and I stopped the coach, and I said to him, I said, hey, my son is working, and he just can't seem to get this particular thing out, and his average is not up. And anyway, so we talked, and the coach said, sure. And so he walked in and talked to my son for a couple minutes and watched him, and made two changes. One, he changed two fingers on the hand that he was holding the ball with, and he made one change in the angle of his release. You shoot in top of your arc, you let go. And with those two changes, my son went from, I don't know, maybe 40% to over 75%. Actually, 78% is what he did. That has always stuck in my mind because it shows the value of having someone who is proficient, someone who knows what they're doing, someone who has experience to be there for you and to help you. And so mentorship is along those same lines. And so you're looking for people who will be there to help you along the way. Okay, so we've talked about coaches and people who are going to be there for your accountability. We've talked about people who are going to be there, your peers. And so let's go ahead and let's dive in now, and let's really talk about this mentor. What is a mentor? Why is a mentor important? What are we doing, and how do we go about setting that up? Okay. So what is the power? What is the power of mentorship? And just generally speaking, mentorship, the power of mentorship is what we just talked about. It's having someone there who's been there before, people who are, maybe even someone who is walking the path, but who's ahead of you. Then we'll talk about different types of mentors here in a minute, but can show you the way. So no one who's successful stands alone. So whether you're in business, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are working on health, whether you're on a team, some kind of sport, behind every successful person, there is someone behind them who has been helping, who has been supporting, who has been coaching, right? And that's the power of a mentor. Mentor help you build success, and they help you build success with without sometimes going through all of the pitfalls that we tend to find as we're moving through that space, okay? So a mentor provides wisdom, he provides accountability, she also provides perspective. All of these are key features. Now, I have to say to you that I wish I had embraced, sought out, and done a better job of mentorship. I wish I had done that, because there are places and things that I've done and gone that I probably would not have done had I had a mentor, because they could have steered me in a different direction. They could have helped me make some different decisions. So the benefits of mentor is success with shortcuts. I love it. So why spend 10 years trying to do something when a mentor can help you do that in 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, right? So mentors will help provide a shortcut to success. That is key. Learning from someone who's already been there helps you to go there and helps you to save time, helps you to save money too, right? So to have someone say, well, you know, typically these are the mistakes that people make. These are the places that someone will have a hang up. These are some concepts that you need to learn if you're going to be successful. These are some procedures. These are some skills. These are some certifications that you need to have if you're going to be successful. And it's good to know that up front, because then you can begin working on those things and not have to basically fumble your way through and find out at the end that, hey, I could have been working on this before. One of the things that I found, and you know, I was in the process of, I think, getting my certification, my coaching certification, and I'm in the process of going through the coursework and doing my practicals and, you know, doing my my practice coaching sessions. And there was one item that we needed to have completed by the end, okay? And I didn't realize until maybe middle or 3/4 of the way in. And it wasn't that it was a difficult thing to do, but had I had someone walk with me, right, says, oh, hey, this is what you're gonna need, I could have started doing that at the beginning. And so it took me to the rest of the course to complete it, and I did, but the pace at which I had to move was a lot more than I wanted, okay? So if there was someone who was there that says, hey, you know, you're gonna need to do this thing down the road, why don't you go ahead and get that started right now? I think that would have been a tremendous benefit, tremendous asset. So a mentor also provides accountability. A mentor keeps you focused and on track. One of the most challenging things when we are working on goals, particularly if there is a long-term goal, is the staying on track, because there are so many things that pull at us, right? So many commitments that we have, so many other activities that we're involved with, that it's quite easy to get distracted if we are not careful. And so a mentor is there to help keep you on track and to help say, hey, what are we doing, right? So here are some mileposts that we've put in. Here are some signs that we've put. Here are some small goals that we have set, and it seems as though we're not moving in that direction. We're not getting there quickly enough. Do we need to change our goals? Do we need to change the time frame? Do we need to allocate additional resources? Okay, so the mentor provides accountability. Otherwise, we kind of not that we give up, but we get distracted because there's so many things in our lives that will pull at our time. And then the mentor also provides kind of stick-to-itiveness. What does that mean? That means that you're going to run into times where it's not that you're distracted. It's not that you don't know what you're supposed to do, but you get discouraged because life happens. In the middle of all the things that we do, life is going on. When I was in medical school, one of the things I used to say was, when I finish medical school, I'm going to really start living. And then I got through medical school and said, when I get through residency, things are, when I really start having living, right? All this time I was married. My wife and I had been moving, for school and jobs and so forth. And then, when I finish my fellowship, then life is going to start. Well, guess what? That was life, right? The things that we're doing, the training that we're getting, the certifications that we're having, that is part of our life. And often we forget that in the midst of our striving, in the midst of our drive for success, life is happening. And this process of getting through success and being where we need to be, and even this accountability and consistency, that is part of life. And if we're not careful, we can become discouraged with all of that, and we lose our way, or we get off track. We lose our focus, and we lose our motivation. So a mentor provides the benefit of motivation to allow us to continue down the path that we need to do to continue being successful. Okay? And then a mentor helps to expand your thinking. Mentor helps to expand your thinking. When we are focused, when we have a plan, when we have outlined what it is that we want to do, we become pigeonholed into that thing. And sometimes there are things that we run into on the way that, because our focus is so narrow, we have difficulty. And a mentor can say, hey, let's step back for a minute. Let's get a bigger view of where we are, where we've come from, and where we're heading. I tend to be a big view forest person. So I know there's a forest, and I know there are little things in there that have leaves on them. Those are called trees, by the way, and bushes. But I really don't care what bush. I don't care if there's like 2 oaks and maple, and that, for me, that's not my thing. Okay. There are people who are the detail people. There are people who they can tell you exactly how many trees there are, how many leaves are on that tree. And so a mentor has the ability to see where you are and to expand your thinking beyond where you currently are, right? Because all of us have our focuses. All of us have our strengths. All of us have our penchants, predilections, whatever you want to call it. But a mentor can see where you are. And if you are the detail person, the tree, the number of trees, number of leaves, the mentor can say, okay, let's step back for a minute and let's think outside the box. And if you're like me, you're the, hey, I know there's some green things down there in that area. A mentor can say, okay, how do we refocus? How do we think beyond where you are? And let's get this going the way we need to go. And they can provide provide an expansion of your thought process to help you move in a better way. They challenge your assumptions, and they help you think bigger, right? They challenge the assumptions, and help you think bigger. Otherwise, once again, you're pigeonholed into your current thought process. I was doing something, and I just thought about this as I'm talking, and I was trying to come up with a schedule, okay? And I'm working through the schedule, and I just can't get the schedule to work in terms of what I needed to do. And I was talking to someone, and they said, hey, because I needed to give a talk. I think it was like 1 hour, 20 minutes. I needed to do something else, needed to do a show, needed to do a video. And they said, why don't you just cut 10 minutes from, I forgot what part of my schedule they said. And do you know, as simple as that was, I had not thought of it. Cut 10 minutes from this thing over here. Because it doesn't have to be 10 minutes longer. And once I did that, I was able to successfully navigate all the other responsibilities and things I needed to do. But that's the benefit of having someone looking over your shoulder, someone who has a different perspective, and someone who can help you move into a better direction, okay? So that's the benefit, right? That's the power of mentorship. And so there are 3 types of mentors, just like we talked about: people who are in your peer group, people who are your accountability, people who are your cheerleaders, all of those. So there are 3 types of mentors that we can talk about, and we're going to run through those. The first one is the been there, done that mentor. And this is the one that we think about most often, right? This is the person that has gone through the steps, the person that has navigated successfully the path that we're on, or the path that we want to start on. And they are now looking back with a different perspective. They've mapped out the road. They see where the potholes are. They know where the pitfalls are. They have learned how to do some things more efficiently. And so we want to tap into their brain power. We want to tap into their experience because they've seen it, okay? So if you're going on a trip and you're planning, sightseeing, you're going wherever, it's great to have somebody who read about it, right? Who can say, hey, according to the book, this thing right here is supposed to be exciting, or we need to go to that place. But what is it like, though, to have somebody who's been there, who's climbed the mountain, walked the trail, knows what to put in the backpack, knows some of the locals, that can say to you, oh yeah, I know it says we're gonna go there, but we're gonna move over here and we're gonna shortcut that. We're gonna get past that, right? So that's amazing. So been there, done that. So someone ahead of you, someone who has already accomplished what you're thinking about or the journey that you're on. Ask yourself, who in your life has done the thing I want to do? All right, so that's one type of mentorship. When I went on my trip recently, back to having someone who has been there, we stayed with a friend of mine by his dad's house. And it was amazing, right? We got in the car, and this is where he's from. This is his home. And so we're driving around, and there are things that we did in our space, things that we did on our trip that aren't the typical things that people do when they go there, okay? So, but it was amazing because we had someone who had been there and they'd done that, and so he could show us some of the ropes. The next type of mentor is the side-by-side mentor. That's the partner. That's the person who is walking along the path with you. The person who, as I say, is in the trench, right? This is someone on a similar path, someone who is at a similar level, and you can walk with, work with, call, ask advice. It's that study buddy when you're doing that exam. It's the person who is setting up their business. The person who, if you're in the medical field, who's getting those credentials done. Is the person who is now working on bodybuilding when you're getting started. It's the person who is walking on day number 45, right? So those are the people. Now the benefits of that is it's great to be on a path, and it's great to see success on the path. It's great to have a plan for the path, but it's nothing like knowing that you're not by yourself, that you're not alone. And having a mentor in this space, someone who is walking that path with you, allows you to have that person in the foxhole with you. Okay? So we are built for community. We're built for partnerships. And when you are in the foxhole, when you're walking through the path, when you're walking down the journey, having someone there is an amazing benefit. So one of the benefits of a mentor is that they can be there with you. They learn and they grow with you. So they see something and they pick up the phone and call, hey, did you know such and such? Okay, you guys are doing the same thing. I remember when I was in medical school, and a lot of my stories, as you see, are from medical school or even fellowship. Well, now to think about it, when I started my practice, there were times when I picked up the phone and I called someone who was in the same class, someone who was on the same rotation with me, and said, hey, how do you do this? What is this like? Or where do I go for this? And they, sometimes they knew, sometimes they didn't. Sometimes we learned together, okay? So that side-by-side mentor that is there with you with the growing pains. And then the reverse mentor. This is someone that may be behind you. Oh yeah. So we can learn from everyone, right? So the reverse mentor, this is someone who may be behind you, someone who is a junior to you, someone who started the path after you. And one of the things I love about what I do in our office is we have students who come through that we train. And one of the reasons I love having students is that I learn so much from the students. They keep me fresh. They keep me on my toes, right? Because they'll ask questions that I may have long put out of my head, because I've developed the knowledge, I've come up with my protocol, and I'm going through the process of using what I've learned. So when a student comes in and they'll say to me, why do we do this? Or why do we do that? What do I have to do? I have to now look at my protocol. I've got to go through the process of trying to explain to them how I got to where I am in terms of what I do. And that entire process does several things. One, it keeps you fresh, because there may be things that have changed in the literature, changed in the way we do treatment for something. So I've got to now go look at that. It helps me be able to look at what I do and say, okay, is this the best way? And remember, there's no better way to know that you know something than if you could teach it successfully to somebody else. Okay? So the reverse mentor, I am providing benefit to them because I am learning, or I'm showing them the course because I'm ahead of them, but they're providing benefit to me because they are putting me in the position to have to review, to have to learn, to have to expand my thinking. So remember, we can learn from everywhere, right? So mentorship goes both ways. A younger person may have insights or skills that you may not think about. Oh yeah. Recently, within the last year, we had a student who came through, and I was explaining some procedure that I was doing, And they said, have you thought about doing it this way? And honestly, I had not. I had not considered it. Or even more, there are certain questions I ask, right? So there's certain topics that are inherent to endocrinology, because they're there to learn about endocrinology, about diabetes and thyroid and obesity and on and on. So we can go through that list. But so there are certain questions I ask because I'm eliciting an answer that allows me to teach the concepts. So hey, what are the 5 most common reasons for abnormal thyroid levels, right? And they'll come and, there's an answer. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, if the person I'm talking to says a 6th one, then I have to now process it. Man, and I've said to them before, I said, wow, that wasn't the answer I was looking for, but I had not considered that, right? So now when I ask the question, I ask, okay, what are the 5 instead of the 4? But you get the idea, right? So we are teaching each other. I'm giving them the wealth of knowledge that comes from experience and comes from been there, done that. And they're giving me the wealth of different perspective or fresh perspectives, because they're just now starting and they see things differently. And I can learn from that. Technology has changed. And so someone who is younger, right, may say, hey, there is this app, there is this website, there's this whatever it is that we can use to do what you've been doing manually all these years, right? Or whatever it is. But you get the idea. They bring a different perspective. And so for both not both, but for all of these, the been there, done that, the in the trenches with you, and the reverse mentor, the question you want to ask yourself is, who in your circle currently serves as that? And if you don't have anyone, how do I go about getting those? Okay, so all of those are important. All of those are benefits. All of those are types of mentors that you want to use. Okay, so then the question is, how do we go about finding the right mentor? Now, there are lots of things that people talk about, lots of ways of doing this. I'm going to share a perspective with you, but there are some common ideas that go with these perspectives. And the first one is that you've got to be open and you've got to see mentorship around you everywhere. We were at church recently, and our pastor has this uncanny gift for taking the common stories of life and finding life lessons that are amazing. And so I commented to someone about this, and they said to me, I think one of the things is that he sees sermons everywhere. He's a content creator. He's not necessarily going out and looking and say, okay, I'm looking for a sermon for this or for that or for that. But everywhere, everything that is around him has the potential to be a sermon. And so he's seeing it everywhere, and so it just comes. And so for mentorship, one of the amazing things that I want you to understand is that you can see mentorship all around you. There are people who you may not know, people you may not touch, people that will never know you, that can be some of the most amazing mentors that you find yourself learning from. Okay? So see mentorship all around. So that was number one. Number two, you've got to be clear about what you need. Be clear about what you need. So going to a mentor and saying, hey, I want you to be my mentor, and them saying to you, okay, well, how can I help you? And you saying to them, well, I need you to help me figure out what I need. Yeah, not a good, not a good way to approach mentorship. Okay, so there are specific tasks, specific ideas, specific skills that certain people have. Now, there is a place to have people around you who are helping you figure out what you're doing, what career you're going to go into, what are my gifts, right? And there are a lot of ways to figure that out. You can do aptitude testing. You can go to career counseling. So there are lots of different ways to figure that out. But once you've done that and you are looking to say, okay, I need help, even in that process. Okay, I'm an endocrinologist, right? That's what I am. Now you've researched, you want to be in medicine, you want to be an endocrinologist, and you've looked into it. Say, okay, I like this. Well, now how do I go kind of solidifying that? Well, you may go read up on endocrinology. And then you may go to a hospital and say, hey, I'm not quite where the endocrinologist training is, but I want to volunteer at the hospital. Just see what the hospital's like. Do I like being in the hospital? Do I like being around sick people? Right? So all of that comes before, okay, I'm going to be an endocrinologist, right? So number one, be clear. Define what you're looking for in a mentor. If it's career guidance, if it's fitness coaching, so be clear about what you want. Okay, so that when you approach the mentor, you can say, okay, this is what I need. The clearer you are, the easier it is to find a mentor that fits that. Okay. Number two, look in the right places. So join clubs, go into memberships, go to the places where the people that you're trying to be, the person you're trying to be, is there. Okay. And that allows you to find those people that can fit that space for you. Books, podcasts. I do a lot of books. I do a lot of podcasts. Networking events, right? So those are always amazing, right? Go to the conferences where those people are. Online communities, right? So I encourage people to be in communities. Local businesses and groups. All of those are places where you can find mentors. And then build relationships organically. Don't simply walk and say, I want you to be my mentor. But be in those spaces, be around people, provide benefit for them so that you're building organic relationships and you're bringing value. Engage with their content online, on their podcasts, in their memberships, okay? And be a good mentee. So what you want to attract, be the person that the mentor looks at and say, okay, I wonder if that person needs a mentor, okay? So that they come to you and you're not necessarily always looking at them, right? So number one, get clear, right? Understand mentorship is everywhere. Number two, get clear on what you want. Look in the right places, build relationships organically, and then be a good mentee, all right? So that's how we do it. So, we can't ever go without having a challenge. And so here's the challenge. You ready? One, get your book, get your journal, and begin writing. So number one, identify one mentor in your life that currently is there and thank them for what they're doing for you. Now, once again, these may be people that don't even know that they are mentoring you. Just the other day, I was talking to someone and I had done our show about creating that network. And I said to them that I was talking about you on my show this morning. I didn't call you by name, but I was saying to the folks, he doesn't even realize how much he is mentoring me. And I want to thank you for that. So just thank them, okay? Write down someone else that you would like to develop a relationship with who is doing what you want. Maybe they're ahead of you. Maybe they are a peer. Maybe there's someone who's below you, right? And reach out to them organically to let them know that you appreciate what they're doing. Begin working with their content if they have a podcast, their membership, so that you begin building that relationship. And then reflect on what you've been doing, and are you doing what you need to do to create this network? I'm so excited that you're here on day number 55. Every day, we're building a better version, more consistent version, more reliable, more self-assured version, self-sufficient version, more self-confident version of ourselves. Make sure you join me tomorrow for day number 56 as we move through this 100 day of consistency. I'll see you on the walk.